Russia just fired nuclear-capable ballistic missiles at Ukraine. America's doomsday plane was spotted in the air. Social media exploded with claims of imminent nuclear war. The media ran with it, but here's what they buried. The missiles didn't have any warheads. The plane flies routine missions, and the real danger's not what you think. See, over the last 24 hours, the internet flooded with panic, speculation, and half-understood military jargon. Russia launched medium-range ballistic missiles known as the Oreshnik into Ukraine's Lviv region. The missiles were unarmed. No nuclear warhead, but they are nuclear capable. Now, that distinction matters. Now, in modern nuclear doctrine, firing an unarmed ballistic missile is simply sending a message that we can deliver this with a warhead anytime that we choose. These missiles are part of Russia's MIRV-capable arsenal. Multiple independently targetable reentry vehicles. A Cold War doomsday technology designed to overwhelm missile defenses. Shortly after, the E-4B Night Watch was spotted airborne. That's the so-called doomsday plane, and the media lost its mind. Now, if you're over 40 and planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you have built may be smaller than you realize. And here's a question that most people never ask. Is your portfolio built for what's coming next? Many investors in their 40s and 50s discover they have little to no exposure to precious metals. That means their savings are largely tied to markets, policies, and paper assets with very little protection if conditions change. As retirement moves from someday onto the horizon, protecting what you've already built becomes just as important as growing it. And that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. No pressure, no sales gimmicks, just clear answers. Visit nextnewsgold.com. That's nextnewsgold.com. Or you can call the number that is now finally on the screen. Now, here's the truth the panic merchants buried. The E-4B Night Watch is an airborne command and control platform. It's designed to ensure continuity of government in a catastrophic attack. It flies regular readiness training and relocation missions throughout the year. Its presence in the air does not mean a nuclear strike is imminent. It means the military is doing its job during elevated global tension. The sighting came amid cascading pressure points. Russia escalating in Ukraine, the U.S. interdicting Venezuelan oil shipments, the collapse of the Maduro regime, renewed confrontation with Moscow. This was not a coincidence. It was deterrence choreography. Both sides signaling capability without crossing the red line. Here is the headline from the raw feed, the raw story, excuse me. I'm the raw feed. Very rare. Hegseth landing at LAX in Trump's doomsday plane sets off firestorm online. Hegseth landing at LAX in Trump's doomsday plane. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that thing. Look at this thing. This is the doomsday plane. That thing looks wild. Airborne command center. Pete Hegseth inside that at the moment that the photograph was taken. Here is the doomsday plane. The E-4B Night Watch made its first ever landing at LAX, surprising plane spotters. Built to run the government from the air and survive nuclear war, it refueled and took off Friday with a C-17 close behind. Only 2026 would see a flying nuclear bunker cruising Hollywood like casual VIP. This is from airline videos. Captured this. Never seen anything quite like that. I don't think I've heard of this plane, but I've never seen anything. It's like, you've got your Air Force One, but this thing is something, a bird of a different feather, if you will. Preliminary reports say Russian terrorists used an Oreshnik missile to strike the Styry gas field and gas storage in Lviv regions. This is in November 21st of 2024. It looks like that's the date associated, but this was posted 24 hours ago. So Russian terrorists use the missile. So Russian terrorists just have access to these missiles? Is that how it works? This is video from, yeah, the timestamp on that video is 11/21/2024. So this is quite a long time ago. So who the hell's posting this stuff? Maybe this is the strike. It's a reference. Okay, I think I understand now. This is just a reference to the strike that happened when these missiles came down. And they're referencing the preliminary reports of this missile launch. But they're saying Russian terrorists. How do Russian terrorists have access to intercontinental ballistic missiles? Russia launched its unarmed ICBM at Ukraine. Flying the Doomsday plane is standard procedure with Russian ICBM launches because their MIRV capability. The MIRV is a doomsday weapon invented in the 60s. The Russian Federation struck with medium-range ballistic missiles, the Oreshnik, without a warhead. So this is the shot. Wow. It's like lightning. That's just crazy. End-style attack on Russia. Trump is playing a likely bluff with Doomsday plane, but with these chuckles. It's the wilder side. The E-4B Doomsday plane performs regular training, maintenance, and readiness flights throughout the year to stay operational. Sightings aren't unusual, but this one aligns with current global tensions. That's according to Grok. Russia has also deployed the nuclear Poseidon submarine to escort a tanker to Venezuela after it was harassed by the U.S. Coast Guard. With a 10,000-kilometer strike range, Moscow is sending a bold message, turning the Atlantic into a high-stakes chessboard as naval powers clash. This is Russian news. The hunt for Red October, right? High stakes indeed. Here's the White House discussing the tanker that was taken, I should say confiscated legally.
I wanted to ask you about the seized tanker, the Vela. There were reports before this that Russia had sent a submarine to escort it. Was there any engagement with that submarine? And then was the deconfliction line with Russia used ahead of boarding that?
Again, this was a Venezuelan shadow fleet vessel that has transported sanctioned oil. The vessel was deemed stateless after flying a false flag, and it had a judicial seizure order, and that's why the crew will be subject to prosecution.
I want to ask you about this.
Subject to prosecution. How you like that? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Russia sent the submarine into the Atlantic to rescue its tanker from American military, Bella 1, trying to escape from U.S. Coast Guard. It was empty at the time because it was unable to load oil in Venezuela due to the blockade. Another shot of that submarine that was used to support the Bella 1. Damn. This is just wild. Look at the little windshield on the front. Even a submarine has a little windshield. That's how they drive it, with a little steering wheel. They got a little lounge up there where they can drink their vodka. The U.S. sees the Bella 1. We covered this on January 7th after pursuit across North Atlantic. And 12 hours ago, they seized another. This is from NBC News. More on that. Air Force E-4B Night Watch, nicknamed Doomsday, highly modified Boeing 747, serving as an airborne command center to ensure continuity of government during nuclear war. Advanced communications, EMP hardening, thermal shielding to withstand a nuclear blast, and keep top leaders like President or Secretary of Defense in control. One of these four planes is always on alert, ready to become the primary command post if ground infrastructure is destroyed. And you just saw it land at LAX for the first time. Here's another shot. This is from Hardcore Military, the most expensive military plane in operation. $160,000 an hour to run it.
As you work your way in, could you come up 3? Come on. Stabilize there. There we go.
Refueling a 747 mid-flight.
Contact disconnecting.
That is something. That's a sight to behold. I mean, those pilots have got skill to be able to pull off that. Refueling a 747 mid-flight. Dude, that's impressive. Just the amount of hardware in that plane. And they're just casually linking up. Give me some more fuel. And they got to hold that shot. They got to hold it. Man. It's Flying Command Center. Soon after Russia used its nuclear-capable missile, presidential doomsday plane was spotted in the air. And people are asking why. Well, it's because global tensions are at an all-time high. And especially with the actions going on in Venezuela, the blockade, the seizure of the Bella 1. I mean, this is going to be an interesting thing to watch. The truth is, though, Russia wanted attention, right? They got it. They tried to play chicken with us. The United States wanted to show readiness. We did. The media turned both into hysteria. See, the danger is not that the doomsday plane flew. The danger is that too many people no longer understand why it exists or how deterrence works. When signaling is mistaken for collapse and preparedness is framed as provocation, the real risk is, it's not missiles, it's miscalculation. So here's what you need to understand. The world is drifting back into Cold War signaling logic. But now social media amplifies fear faster than facts can catch up. Every missile test becomes a doomsday rumor. Every military aircraft becomes an omen. And bad actors exploit that confusion to manufacture panic. This is not the brink of nuclear war. This is information warfare overload where public perception becomes as volatile as the weapon systems themselves. Russia fired unarmed missiles to remind the world of its reach. America put up its command plane to show readiness. That's how nuclear powers communicate without actually going to war. The media either doesn't understand that or doesn't want you to understand it. So here's my question. Should the media be required to verify military claims before running nuclear panic headlines? Yes or no? Answer in the comments. And check out the next news merch shop in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.